based on what she knew of her teeth. The police claimed that what happened to Alla, Nizetta's mother, was financially motivated. Police in Nizetta reported that valuables had been stolen from Alla's apartment. Victoria had also stolen Alla's life savings, roughly $50,000. The word money was carved into the wall in Russian. Nizetta believed that Alla was trying to communicate with police to inform them that her death had been motivated by money. Law enforcement brought Victoria in, where she flunked a lie detector test. She failed every single question. Victoria knew that she was in trouble, and she used her youth and beauty to her advantage by seducing the detective working on her case. Victoria got to the airport in Moscow and took the first flight to the United States. Victoria had slipped away from Russian law enforcement, but Interpol issued a red notice for her arrest. Victoria became an escort and dominatrix to make ends meet in the US. She quickly gained a reputation as someone who would meet men online, then drug them. Once she sedated them, she would steal whatever she could. 48 hours filmed Victoria's victim, Ruben, for an episode called Red Notice for Murder. They aired footage of him directly after his encounter with Victoria. He could barely speak and was practically in a coma. Once he began to come around, he couldn't feed himself properly for days. He was in the hospital for weeks. Ruben said that Victoria offered to cook for him, and that he only ate a couple pieces of fish before he blacked out. Ruben was intoxicated for days, as Victoria stole thousands of dollars in cash and charged over $2,000 on a shopping spree with his American Express card. She also brought him to his business, told his employees that he was drunk, and cleaned out the cash register. When Ruben recovered, he was asked how he felt about Victoria now, and he claimed to love and admire her. He said that she was a true professional who deserved an Academy Award. Ruben was not Victoria's only victim. A former boyfriend even claims that Victoria poisoned and unalived his dog 2 days before his birthday because the dog was getting too much attention for her liking. Because of Victoria's undocumented status in America, and because she liked to live an extravagant lifestyle, she was forced to keep rich boyfriends, steal from clients, and steal expensive items like fur goods. Victoria knew that to keep living in America, she would have to get a new identity. She carefully chose her victim, the person she would become. In 2016, Victoria found an esthetician by the name of Olga. Olga was beautiful and had brown hair and brown eyes, just like Victoria, and she was from the Ukraine, so she spoke Russian, just like Victoria. One day, Victoria begged Olga for help with an eyelash disaster. Victoria brought along a cheesecake as a thank you gift for her esthetician. Victoria had poisoned the cheesecake with a hefty dose of a drug. It's a popular Russian tranquilizer, actually. Olga reported that the cheesecake tasted normal, but that she became sick almost right away and vomited and threw up. She reported losing her vision was found guilty on the attempt to unalive someone, assault, and other charges in early 2023. She faces up to 25 years in prison, and jail has not been kind to Victoria. A fight almost blinded Victoria. She claims that other inmates ganged up on her, beat her up. She also claims that a nearby corrections officer did nothing to help her. Victoria went on a brief hunger strike to protest that allegedly bad treatment that she was receiving at Rikers. Apparently her fellow inmates like her as much as the correction officers do. According to them, she has reported mistreatment excessively. Victoria denied all accusations brought up against her, and she even claims that Olga actually poisoned herself. She said that she must have poisoned the cheesecake from under her pillow. Victoria claims to be innocent of Alla's death back in Russia and says that Russian police photoshopped that traffic camera picture to make it appear that Alla's body was in her car. To this day, Victoria refused to take any accountability for her crimes. Russian authorities are waiting for the day that Victoria is released so that she can face charges for the death of Alla Alexenko. This is quite the story. It literally seems like something out of a movie. I think she's definitely a psychopath, narcissist, whatever you call it. Kind of reminds me of the other lady that I covered who would harm and unalive old ladies to steal their money so that she can go shopping. To literally look for someone that looks like you with the purpose of stealing their identity, unaliving them, and living your rich, fabulous life is scary, and she clearly has zero remorse and takes zero accountability. Thank God she's behind bars, and I don't think that she'll be getting out at all, really. If she gets out of here, she'll be going to prison in Russia, so she cannot hurt anybody else. But, definitely very, very scary to know what she was capable of. Thank God Olga survived, the attempts against her life, not once but twice. But my thing is that this lady gave you a cheesecake and you got super, super sick, and not to blame her, just, and she offers you food again. Just, I guess, honestly, like, nobody suspects that somebody would do this to them. That's the thing, because I'm like, why would you eat something else that she gave you? But a normal